Hey guys, welcome to IB Economics. This particular video is on Unit 2.3, which is the section on the price mechanism and the explanation of the price mechanism. So it brings together Units 2.1 on demand, 2.2 on supply, integrates them into this final unit. The price mechanism developed by Adam Smith covers a lot of different areas, and you'll talk about things like resource allocation here, using our resources in the best possible way. We'll talk about the signaling effect of price, how price is the crucial ingredient really in how resources are allocated. We'll talk about incentives, and we'll talk about rationing, so shortages and surpluses there, and the incentive of consumers and producers to behave in a particular way. So the price mechanism obviously focuses on supply and demand. In this diagram here, I'm going to take you through a situation where the demand increases and what the impact of that is on the price mechanism. We'll talk about the invisible hand, and we'll talk about resource allocation. So in an initial situation like this, where we're in equilibrium at the price of P, the quantity Q, there's no pressure for change at that moment in time. Something happens, and in this example, what we've got showing is that the demand has increased. So a non-price determinant of demand, whether it's income increasing for a normal good or taste and preferences, maybe the price of substitutes has gone up, or the price of complements has gone down. Something has happened to shift the demand for our product to D1. Now, we need a mechanism to bring us back to equilibrium. Without the government just allowing the free market to operate, what we're seeing initially here is that at the original equilibrium price of P and the quantity Q, what we're now seeing is that the demand has shifted to the right. And so without anything else changing, the quantity demanded is now in excess of the quantity supplied. So supply is still at the original equilibrium Q, and the demand is now a Q1. We've got excess demand in the marketplace. So what's going to happen when we've got excess demand is that the invisible hand kicks in. It's really important that you do not suggest that producers start to push the price up. It is not the producers, it's the invisible hand of the market. And so the price starts to rise because it's currently uncomfortable, a situation where there's excess demand. Price starts to increase, and that sends a signal to consumers and to producers to change their behaviour. So what's going to happen is that for our producers, they're seeing a rise in price on that supply curve. You'll notice the green arrow moving, extending down the supply curve. As producers see a greater opportunity to make profit, they'll be willing to supply more, whereas the consumers operating on this new demand curve D1 start to see the price rise, and they're going to contract their demand. They're going to decrease their demand, and this process will continue all the while there's an imbalance in the market. So we finally end up at that new equilibrium point where supply is equal to demand. It happens naturally. It happens through these forces of the free market. There hasn't needed to be any government intervention here, and we move to this new equilibrium, and as a consequence, the new equilibrium suggests a higher resource allocation to this product because we want it, people want more of it. Another way of representing it is on a simple production possibility curve. So, where we've got a choice we can make, in this case, cars or bicycles. What's happening now with the increased demand for cars is that we start producing more cars, and resources are moved into cars and they're moved out of something else. In this example, it's bicycles, so the opportunity cost of making more cars and moving resources in is that fewer bicycles are made. So that's a situation where we've got an increase in demand. What you need to be familiar with is what happens in the other three potential scenarios. So look at it yourselves, take a look at, draw a diagram, try and explain what happens when demand decreases. Again, show how the price mechanism kicks in through the invisible hand, sending signals, changing resource allocation to what we want. And a similar thing with both supply increasing and supply decreasing. You can go through exactly the same sort of scenario. So when you've understood all four of those, you cover basically every question that you might be asked on the price mechanism. If you want to find out more, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe.